Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Quillkeepers Foundry podcast. I am your host, Stephanie Lamb Poetry. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the handle down below, Stephanie Lamb Poetry, all one word. And you can find our platform page on Instagram and Facebook under Quillkeepers Foundry. And it's also listed up there above if you're watching the video version of this. I think it's been about 3 weeks since I did my last podcast. I have been actually very, very busy and pre-consumed with getting my poetry book out and also putting together an anthology of poetry, short stories, memoirs, and essays that hopefully we will be publishing at towards the beginning to maybe around spring of 2021. So if you are interested in how you can submit your work for that anthology, please DM us here at the Foundry or on my personal page or our sister page, Quillkeepers Press, all one word. You can find that on Instagram and Facebook. So, yeah, things have been quite busy. And in the next couple of podcasts, I do have some really great guests for you guys. We'll be having, if you tuned in when Poetical Panda was here, he will be joining me again, Mr. Bobby. He is a wonderful, wonderful soul, and I'm very blessed to have our paths cross. And I am also trying to line up Handsome Heartbreak, Double H, if you are familiar with him. He is also an amazing soul who is very charismatic, and I can't wait to have him here. If you are interested in being a co-host for one of these podcasts, please, please, please feel free to DM me and hit me up, and we can figure out time, weekend, day, whatever, that will work for both of us to do this. I love having guests here, and I think I've figured out, for the most part, the techie stuff that was like kind of glitchy at first when I was trying to bring guests in. Anyway, so I think that's enough rambling. Let's get to it. I have some selections for you guys. I don't know that it'll be a full hour. I do have a ton of poetry saved. It's hard to find the time to go through them all. So anyway, this selection that I have for you guys today is it's basically cold reading for me because I haven't really looked over the selections or practiced them like I usually do because I've just been so pressed for time. So if I have to restart or mess things up a little bit, then I apologize in advance. And and I am also recording from my loft where my little home office is. So if you hear noises in the background, I do have family home. I've got little ones, and yeah, so dogs, cats, it may get a little chaotic here and there. That's life. Okay, so this first poet is Tipsy Love Letters, and I believe that they are out of Canada. And that's Tipsy Love Letters, all one word, no underscores, no dots. And I don't know that this one has a title, but her caption says, "They hide in the Polaroids." My monsters don't hide under the bed anymore. No, I checked. They're in the closet now, buried in an old box under empty bottles of whiskey. You can hear them at night if you're listening, 3 a.m., when I'm trying to sleep. Their voices bounce off the lilac walls of my childhood bedroom. The first time we came eye to eye, I almost didn't recognize them. I almost thought they'd have scaly skin, 3 arms, 6 eyes, standing 10 feet tall, hovering over me as I trembled. But no, you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it with your own 2 eyes. But they all look like you. And I'm still trying to decide if that's better or worse. Oof. Ugh. I really love that piece because I think that it can be taken a couple of ways. It could be an introspective piece where you're examining your own demons and monsters, or it can also be maybe you're very haunted by somebody in your past. I think we've all kind of been there. I think we all have that, maybe one or multiple people who have haunted us. And that just kind of stick with us, stick to our ribs, you know. So yeah, I really loved that particular piece by Tipsy Love Letters. So if you are not following or don't know of them, please go check them out on Instagram. This next one is, I'm gonna hope that I don't butcher this handle. I don't know them on a personal level, but it is Sarah F. Scovin, I believe, all one word, Sarah F. Scovin. I don't know. I think, oh, this one is called Undergrowth. Um, so many vines took your limbs into their conspiracy. Great leafy things combining secrets into handshakes from which you would not emerge unless they bade it and made your palms warm again. I think about your mouth there in the midst of it, like a strange fruit, purpled and chilled, and how decay was said to have smelled sweeter. There are no questions to be asked here where the green still rules. No answers. But the knowledge that you at last found your roots. Whew, yeah. Um, I really love that piece. I'm not sure if she meant it as like a grieving poem, but I think that to me it says that, you know, somebody finally at peace, maybe they've passed or they moved on with their life and you're kind of still there trying to sort out the pieces for yourself, but also being happy for them that they have, like she said, that you finally found your roots, or maybe you finally got your wings, or however you want, whatever metaphor you want to use for that. But anyway, that's a very beautiful piece. That was by Sarah F. Scovin, all one word. You can find her on Instagram. Okay, so this next one is called A Dark Dawn, and it is by, and I'm going to try not to ruin their handle. Um, Melta Micamia. Melta Micamia, and that's a melt, Micamea. And again, it's called A Dark Dawn. It's really small print, so I'm going to have to zoom in, and if I kind of get messed up, if I have to like, if I glitch out, I'm truly sorry. Dark Dawn. Everyone has something to say and desire to be heard, but no one is willing to lend their voice. What are you doing? What have you achieved? Does life still have meaning to you? Do you still taste the bitterness of men? Soon you would feel the wrath of the earth. The innocents would cry out for help. Would you rise or stand? Would you be the voice for the voiceless? By our window we hold innocent suffer. Our heart boil for truth and spirit to fight, yet we turn our back, singing, "Nothing concerns me." As we lose great minds and future leaders, we save pawns to lose the queen. How long shall evil thrive? As windows of grace remain shut, volcanoes erupt in anger, restlessness of the sea floods our mind. The downpour of rain cannot wash away our sorrows, but we shall be still and rest, knowing the wind would call out our name. Weave open gates of hell, shattered home of peace. We enthroned evil, paint the sun darker than the night, yet we pray for a beautiful day. Arise, men of purpose, it's time to raise our voice. Future cry for help, come forth with boldness. Look unto the throne of grace, walk majestically. Your Father awaits, for redemption is yours. And that was A Dark Dawn. I believe the handle is Melta Mikamia. Melta Mikamia. I really love that piece, and that was actually put out January 23rd. And I'm not quite sure where this poet is located in the world, but here I am in the US, and I think that that piece is very relatable to our current social and political climates. There's just a lot of sticky things going on in our world. And I think that it's not just here in the States, it seems to be rather universal. It seems to be that almost globally, we're all kind of fighting very similar fights and getting caught up in some similar problems. And yeah, I just really love that. I love that poem. I really love that line that says, "Will you be a voice for the voiceless?" Because I think as artists, we should. Like, what's the point of us having these gifts and these platforms if we don't use them? You know, so whatever it is that you're passionate about, it doesn't even, I don't care like what side of the fence you're on. If you're passionate about something, use your voice and use your platform, because there are masses who are voiceless on either side of any issue. I often try to look at things from a 360 perspective because I know that there are more than one side to everything. There's, you know what I mean? So anyway, and I love that line because it's actually written in my bios. Like when I submit my work for writing competitions or for publication opportunities, and they accept it, and then they'll ask you for a bio. That's usually written in my bio, is that, you know, I write for my own healing and I share it hoping others find their healing and to give a voice to the voiceless. So when I read that, it really caught my eye and I saved it. Obviously it's been saved for almost a year now. That's how very behind I am on catching up with all of the pieces that I have been saving. I have a ton saved on my anonymous account, and now that my Lamb account is back up and running since I think June-ish, I have been just saving, saving, saving. So there's a lot of you that will be in future podcasts. I just haven't gotten to you yet. Okay, next poem is Thunderstorm Poet, all one word. I don't know that it has a title, and this one will definitely be like a cold read for me. The caption says, "Notes on relationships that were never really relationships. Shout out to all the emotionally unavailable men out there who ran away the minute things got a little serious." Yeah, this will be a cold read for me because I honestly don't remember it, but if I saved it, it means that it really resonated with me and I really, really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a longer piece, so. He says, I'm just not in the right frame of mind for anything serious at the moment. But if I was, I would choose you. You're special, unique, one of a kind. Most importantly, you're not like the other girls. You're the only one who understands me and what I want to achieve in the world. He makes me feel I am part of it. Asks me things like, should I cut my hair? And when I say it's his decision, he leans in close and tells me I'm wrong, that like everything of his, the decision belongs to me. I swallow my retort, which is, accept a label. Clearly, we are getting ready for bed in the morning. Before I call myself an Uber, he sits on the side of the bed, looks at me in all my cherubic glory, says, my angel. Apparently, he has never felt so happy, but we are not a pair. Even though he makes me breakfast, even though he told me about his childhood, even though, after dinner on the sofa, his fingers resting on my inner thigh, he concedes I may refer to him as my boyfriend to others if I wish. But the way he says it makes me feel I am a dog being given a treat for good behavior. He sips water straight after, as though the words leave a bitter taste in his mouth. When he leaves, like all the others do, I have the bitter taste in my mouth now. But I slowly realize day after day, week to week, how damning a relationship that wasn't ever a relationship can be. Wow. Um, That was a thunderstorm poet. Um, and I've been saving that one since January as well. I think that that's a very relatable piece. I think that a lot of us can probably relate to that. I think that especially, I mean, by all means, go out and date multiple people until you find like the one to settle down with. But we definitely live in a time and generation where people are like scared of labels, and it does, and not just in relationships but like across the board. Nobody wants to, god forbid, have a label. um and I think that while that not labeling a relationship can be a healthy thing, it can also be toxic. um I mean, if you've been dating the person, say, for months and months and you still don't have a label, then what's the point? Really, you're just wasting time. Um, it kind of honestly, to me, would show somebody that somebody is afraid of commitment, and that maybe they're a bit, flighty or flaky. So, anyway, I definitely can relate to this piece, and I'm sure that many of you can. Again, that was Thunderstorm Poet. I don't know if I'm following them on my Lamb account, so I'm sending myself that profile so that I start following. Uh, well, you put a chopstick. Okay, this next one is from Courtney Phillips Storytelling, and that one is all one word as well. Courtney Phillips Storytelling. And I'm not sure this one has a title, but her caption says, how do you treat the last heart that was in your hands? So I'm feeling like maybe I've got a theme going. This one, this one is really old. This one is from July 30th, 2020. 19. So almost a year and a half ago. And this one will also be kind of a cold read because it's been a while since I've looked over this poem. Dear, can you please hold my heart gently? We've played this game of back and forth for so long that passes it between you and I and you again has left fingerprints and bruises and cracks, and we don't always catch it when it is thrown. However, still, I trust you enough to pass it your way once more. I trust that you will cherish it, that you will find the pieces on the floor in the in between and try to help me mend it together again. Maybe in the end, we can stand with no space between us, no ground to fall to. We can have one hand on my heart and one hand on yours, and make sure they never crash or break again. Oh, I really love that piece. That is so swoon worthy. It's just beautiful. I love the words. I love the message. I love the way that it flowed, the way that it rolled off my tongue. Um, how relatable it is. Like, it's just a gorgeous piece. You know, I mean, we when we begin relationships, we just trust and we hope and we have faith that the other person will, you know, treat our heart well and not mishandle it. So yeah, that's a gorgeous piece, Courtney. Wow. And I'm not sure that I'm following you on my main account either. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Ooh, you are a private account too. This one is from the Wanderers page, and it is called Man, or I don't know if this was called, but the caption says Man Riding a Woman. There is something about her that makes me want to fall in love with her. Maybe it's the way she always decides to put you in your place by rolling off syllables from the tip of her tongue. Maybe it's the way she clashes and tangles with every word of your heart, wanting to pick you apart. Maybe the way she bickers and laughs is itself art. Or maybe it all begins with the way her slender body curves on top of your nerves, showing every single grace filled bend and turn, from the edge of her lips to the thick of her thighs, and it all ends with a kiss from her hips and a sip from her ocean filled drip. Oh, oh. Whew, and that was the Wanderers page. I really like that piece. I was honestly not expecting the end of that. It got a little sultry there, didn't it? Um, the end that says, from the edge of her lips to the thick of her thighs, and in it all ends with a kiss from her hips and a sip from her ocean-filled drip. That was beautiful and tasty. That's a great piece. Whew, and that one was posted January 5th. Please do go check out these poets. I will have them listed in the descriptions when I upload this to all the different platforms. You can find these podcasts on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud. Oh, and on Quillkeepers Press website, which is www.quillkeeperspress.com. Quillkeepers Press is a new kind of an extension to the Quillkeepers Foundry. We've got a lot of really great information on tips on how to self-publish or how to grab the attention of indie publishers or traditional publishers or hybrid methods. We've got some great resources on that website too, as well as these podcasts. And yeah, go check it out. This next one is Etchings on the Wall. That is the handle. Etchings on the Wall, all one word. I believe that this piece is called Flowers Don't Grow in an Organized Way. And this also will be basically a cold read. The body which I have grown has adopted flower seeds into eye sockets like tiny fingerfuls of violet, buttercup, camellia. I imagine they will grow quietly out of the space and kiss the palms of my hands someday, nurtured by the water in my soft tissues and the sunlight shining on where my eyes used to be like a painting. And yet they are never organized in such a way, sprouting in all different directions out of every orifice. There's never a moment where I don't ache, knowing that they just go where they want. But the flowers are mine. So when my teeth are rose thorns, when my kisses feel like rain-washed petals, and my tongue is made of lavender, when I touch my face and feel like I am real, or look in the mirror and stop holding my breath, the seeds will have begun to blossom. Oh, I really love that. That was Etchings on the Wall. Flowers don't grow in an organized way. Um, I really love the emotion that was put into that piece and just how I don't know, the way that it's, it says like even in the title, flowers don't grow in an organized way, right? Just like healing is never linear, and we often have these, setbacks, and I like that she even, or she, he, I'm not quite sure, they, I'll just call them they have kind of shown that, or compared that these hiccups in our lives, they compared it to something as beautiful as a flower. And I just think that that's really a beautiful piece. Um, and that one was, wow, that one was put out December 21st, 2019. So, a year ago. And this one is um, this one was put out May 28th, 2019, and it is from Sophie. and it's spelled SOPH.EEAH. Sophia. I'm not quite sure how to say it. Anyway, you can find them on Instagram at SOPH.EEAH. And don't know what. Okay, so it says this is an excerpt from the twirl. So I don't know if this is the entire piece or not, but I do love it. And it is, I lost track of how long I hadn't slept for. My days blend together, and I could only make out the time by determining whether the sun was up or down. I had this feeling that I could fly. I could reach up and taste the darkness of the galaxy. I could overcome every black hole and asteroid that I encountered. But when the come down started, the invincibility wore off. And I started to realize I was alone except for one. And that one became my lone obsession. I would call her in the middle of the night because a thought crept into my mind that she may leave me while I lay in solitary confinement in my four walls. I became a mess at the sound of her voice. I would leave myself, I would feel myself break apart into small pieces and crumble into a pile on the floor. The breaking hurt. It hurt so fucking bad. And I lapped up every single excruciating second of it. Whew. Wow. That was an incredibly emotionally charged piece, and I certainly know how that feels to love someone so much that just even the thought of them leaving you just break at even the notion of that. But I also am a very big advocate of making sure you are a whole person and okay on your own before you even go seeking out, lovers. But this is just a really gorgeous piece. Beautiful, beautiful job. And that one, I believe, that one was, wow, okay. That one was put out May 28th, 2019, so it's been a while. And again, Sophie, SOPH.EEAH. You can find her at that handle on Instagram. Yes, all of the pieces I picked out are from Instagram. So, yeah. All right. So then, okay. So, I do, my son is home and he has some friends over. So there may be some background noise. It's life. I have a family. All right, so this piece is from Acacia dot Writes, and it's spelled ACACIA dot Writes. I don't know that it has a title. The caption says, turns out all it took was me being sad about my mom to start writing again. Woohoo. And this piece was released February 11th. Slice myself open with a package knife. I think of disaster and shove my mouth with anger until I can't breathe. I never empty it out. It corrodes in there and fumes in there, and I probably have sores by now. I string nonsense together like I'm manufacturing paper angels and tune out the lecture. A total joke because doesn't everyone know they force us to be here? I think hearts are the ugliest shape. I am tired of all these badly written romance, dystopia, adventure stories where the girl talks about herself for 300 pages and a man for 150, and you would think anyone could manage to make saving the world second priority, but they do. Why are there thousands of these, but only 11 books on lesbians in total? If a non-white, non-straight, non-cis woman who actually had to fight tooth and nail for her place wrote a novel, it would breathe better than these. These are so brown paper bag like I could smash them down with my stem roller palms and whoosh the air out of them in 3 seconds flat. I bite my tongue until it swells sour and keep crossing my fingers behind my back like it's okay that this is all I know how to do because no one ever taught me how to pray. Okay, because I have always held on to a makeshift kind of cobbled survival anyway. Every time I try to leave a band-aid over myself, I grow moldy green moist, so I just keep spray painting my edges wherever they grow out in an attempt to blend in here and not look like a sucker who can't tread water and instead lives off the breaths they get when they bounce to the seafloor and break back up again. My heart beats ugly, desperate, messy, and I never lie in bed except for when I'm not supposed to. So maybe that's why I seem to orange yellow over tanned in the camera lens. I never think about things, I realize. And that is why I'm unreal all the time. I try to catch the end of that thought, but it slips away. Thus, salvation eludes yet again. If there is ever an instance where I was rat bodied and limp, things would be easier. But I am wired to get things wrong, so I spend my days standing on top of a tower, directing a cast of earthquakes for myself to fall into. Trench life, ditch life, spilled over on the floor, still curled around pepper spray. Oh, but life. It's still life, they say. I crawl across the country with my mistakes billowing out behind me like a twisted kind of parachute. Catch me if you can, except no one ever can. So that's why I keep finding the weakest excuses to take one for the team and disavow myself permanently. There's this hammerhead shark that keeps baring its teeth at me, but really it's my own reflection staring back at me, empty and hollow and malicious, snaps its tail and snigger before leaving. My life is a container of shark fin soup, looking all murky and like the food in those high quality 2D animation that everyone says are art. Maybe they are. Against the law and cruel in every aspect, and yet here we are, sucking in shit like I'll ever let it back out again in any way besides angry kettle steam. My palms pressed down on metal coffin lids, fitting because if I die, I'll die in space, cold. Doesn't matter what substance as long as it's lifeless. My mom's addicted to stress instead of Sudoku now, so when I see her playing it on the plane, I flash back to how bad I was at pundit squares and how bad I am at being integral to the puzzle that is the middle and the end of her life. He had a lukewarm beginning, all rose bushes and pruned desserts, and being an imposter in this country, imposter in her family, hidden closet full of drawings on the wall, glasses perpetually too big for her face, and girl perpetually too young for her place. Nothing is solid about her now. She never wanted anything except to give. No foundation to her, but somewhere along the way, she realized that you tend to want love after the people around you get used to hoarding it. I round the sharp coffee table corner and go around to all the plants on my knees, whispering, I love you to them, like they'll be able to get the message across to her, even though she is one of those civilizations that has lived in isolation for so long that its language seems gibberish, incognate of the fact that it's been the world outside making edits without broadcasting. I straighten up and find in my old memory box a badge to strap to my chest. Here is something cold to remind myself I am not dead yet, and the world is not mine. They are not done with it yet. She deserves a happy ending, even if I do not. One day, in the optimist's ending of this, someone will sit me down and smooth me out and carve the rot away from my base so I can rest knowing that they will fix my mistakes. It's my turn to be soothing today. Oof. Whew, wow. So that was a 10 slide poem. Obviously, it was a little long, but absolutely gorgeous. I love all the metaphors and euphemisms in that one, and it's very just raw and kind of visceral and realist. She really took like a realist approach to that, and really she dug into all the ugly yet portrayed it as very beautiful, kind of like the poem earlier where they were comparing ugly to flowers. And I just think that that was just a really stellar write. The way that it was written, the musing, even though, she says it was like her mother, um, the musing of it, just, just gorgeous. Um, Acacia dot writes. Um, okay, we only have one more, so not quite an hour. We won't fill up quite an hour, but that's fine. Why I like the podcast. I'm not locked in to, like with IG Live, now they've upped it from going for 1 hour up to 4 hours, which, okay, so I'm wondering if, because with IGTV, it won't let you save anything that's longer than an hour, or I forget like the file size that it caps off at. So I'm wondering, with them having changed it to where you can go live for up to 4 hours, if they also changed the IG TV space limits, if they upped it or whatever. I haven't found any information on that yet. I only found, when I went Googling, I only found that it allows you to go up to 4 hours. I also have been hearing a rumor that they are going to allow more than a dual live, up to 4 people, like a four-way live, which I think would be really, really cool. But I still haven't found actual factual information that says, yes, that's true. But IG has been updating like crazy. It seems like I get a notification like every other day that I need to update my app at the Play Store. So anyway, um, okay, this next piece is by, honestly, one of my favorite writers who hasn't been very active lately. This is Dai Ueno. Dai Ueno, it's spelled DAI_UENO. absolutely, I mean, just a stellar writer, very unique, very eclectic, very deep. And I just, whenever I can get the chance to read him, I absolutely take advantage of that. I have been saving this piece since February 20th is when they put it out. Again, this is called Juvenile. To live as a man is as hard as to live as a woman. I learned this from my father, and pretty guys shouldn't live and ugly women should be killed is called justice. And there's no doubt about it. But I think I knew someone whose name was Juvenile, who was born peculiar, who detested the policy and protested in his subtle manner. It worked to some extent. But poor Juvenile, stabbed and stabbed and stabbed. Simply a person can kill dreams, so I think. I dumped him into a desert called decency. And I tend to forget and remember till this day that it shouldn't, it should have done this way or that way, or my father was right, or I wasn't wrong, or neither was he, or, but I think I'm lost in the desert after all, and the night is cold, and so are the humans. And even if you're 25, you can cry like a waterfall. And so, why not? We'd sleep together on lousy days. Can you catch a star? Come on, kid. We're dreaming tonight. Whew. Again, that was Dai Ueno, DAI_UENO, and you can catch him on Instagram. One of my favorite writers, but not very active as of late. I think they probably have a lot of things going on, just as most of us do. Um, but yeah, that piece is lovely, and I really love. He really kind of showed me the difference, the cultural differences between himself and the way that he was raised, and say that the way that we were raised. I do, like he says, to live as a man is as hard as to live as a woman. I mean, we could debate that, but I think I like, again, I like to look at everything from a 360 view. And I think that no matter what gender you are, you come with your own hardships, you come with your own um, caps. And I think that's why it's important for us all to be respectful of each other and help each other, uplift each other. Women supporting women, men supporting men, men supporting women, women supporting men, to uplift ourselves and to break that glass ceiling together. So, yeah, anyway, I think that that's a really gorgeous piece. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. And thank you all for tuning in. Again, I am your host, Stephanie Lamb. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Stephanie Lamb Poetry. And you can find us, our platform page, on Instagram and Facebook at Quillkeepers Foundry. If you would like to be read, please tag us in your work. I am starting to incorporate, like, when people tag us, I always make sure that they get a feature on our story, so that they are kind of exposed to a larger audience. But if the piece really, really speaks to me, then I save it for either an IG live, or one of these podcasts. So, if you would like to be read, please tag us, and we will make sure you're, one, featured, and then two, read. Um, Also, do check out our kind of sister page, which is Quillkeepers Press, at Quillkeepers Press on Instagram, and there's also a page on Facebook. But there we are putting together an anthology of poetry, prose, memoirs, essays, and short stories. So it doesn't have to be poetry. If you are a different type of writer and you want to be a part of that publication, please course, go to Quillkeepers Press for more information. You can also check out the website, www.quillkeeperspress.com, and there's a lot of information and resources there. The anthology hopefully will be put together towards the beginning of 2021. I'm hoping to have it out and ready to go and for sale on Amazon and possibly other places by spring. So that's the goal. We'll see. We've gotten quite a few submissions already, but we are still looking for more, particularly in the area of short stories, essays, memoirs, and prose. We've gotten a lot of poetry because that's kind of, the niche or whatever that I've kind of nurtured these, last few years that I've been around, and poetry is my passion. But I am trying to expand because I believe that all writers should be recognized. We all work very, very hard at our craft, and it deserves to get as much marketing and publicity as possible. And that's why I do this. I love doing it. Yeah. Oh, and submissions are free. I mean, come on. It's hard to find, honestly. It's kind of hard to find free submissions, especially if it's going to be in a physical print. I don't know that we'll do an ebook on that one. I think it's going to be a print exclusive. So, yeah, let me know. And if you want to be a co-host on one of these podcasts, then, hit us up in the DM. Hopefully the next few podcasts we will have co-hosts and it'll be fun and exciting, and we can't wait to do that. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Again, this is Quillkeepers Foundry podcast, and I am your host, Stephanie Lamb Poetry, and we'll get together soon, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, and make sure you go and check out all the wonderful artists that I read today. Bye.